Welcome back everyone. In this week's video, we're going to be talking about 4 products designed to help make teaching U.S. geography, world geography, states and capitals a bit easier and hopefully fun and more engaging. We have everything from magnetic world maps to magnetic maps of the United States to a state series quarter collector's map that was actually more fun than I thought it would be, and in the video I'm going to show you some free online resources that have additional activities that you can give to your kids that go along with this activity. And we also have an all wooden version by Melissa and Doug, because if you're a parent and you don't know who Melissa and Doug are, welcome from whatever rock you've been hiding under. And if we're being honest, when I started this lesson with my kids, I couldn't remember what the capital of North Dakota was.
North Dakota, capital Bismarck.
So stick around, because in this video I'll tell you all the pros and cons that I found with these products using them with my kids, and in the end of the video I'll rank them from most useful to least useful based on how my kids interacted with them. And I know what you might be thinking. Aren't you the weekly homeschool channel that does science videos with free worksheets on your website? Why are you doing geography? But during the summertime, school is out, so our videos vary a little bit. In the fall, our science videos will definitely be back and on a regular schedule. So be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, because fall and the new school year will be here as soon as you know it. So to kick things off in no particular order, we're going to start off with our magnetic map of the United States. This is the product that started the lesson with my kids because I wanted to do a lesson on geography, learning about the country, the states, and the individual capitals. The only real negative thing I have to say about the magnetic map is that the pieces are very thin. Although if you don't have the Melissa and Doug one that has super thick pieces, then you may not even notice it. A nice feature about this map is because they're thin, they can definitely get some of the smaller states individually cut out. As you can see here, New Hampshire. Whereas in the Melissa and Doug, they're so thick, some of the smaller New England states, they just kind of grouped them together. Basically in the end, it's just a big magnetic puzzle, and it's up to you to figure out exactly how you want to teach your kids and what geography lessons you want to choose from. And they're all color coded to make it a little bit easier to figure out exactly where things are going if you're just learning about the geography. The package does say for added difficulty, try to put these pieces together on another magnetic surface without the color coding, for example your refrigerator. If your kids could get to that level, that would be impressive. Next up, just because they're so similar, is basically the same thing in the world map version. It's a magnetic version of the world map. I would like to point out that this map actually has listed the Southern Ocean. And it's a little bit of a shameless plug. If you didn't see our video last week on why the Southern Ocean is now an official ocean, plus that video also has a worksheet that goes along with it you can give your kids, you should check out our video from last week. I'll leave the link right here. The only other downside I would say about this is because the pieces are so thin and the countries get so small and they're basically, with a few exceptions, all individually cut, you can definitely lose these pretty easily. Just something to keep in mind. But these would definitely be a good 1-2 combination if you're starting a geography lesson on your kids, perhaps starting with states and capitals with this one, and then once that's conquered or mastered, or when you're done with it, you can move on to world geography with this map right here. With all the products, I'll leave a link in the description below if you're interested in looking more into them. Next up, we have the Melissa and Doug wooden map of the United States. This one I think is actually my favorite just because of the audio component to it. Even though the pieces are thicker and it requires them to group some of the states, especially in New England, together, I do like the fact that when you put it on the board, you get the audio component of what the state capital is.
Capital Montpelier.
Although the only downside I would say is the states are not specific. If you just happen to put any state over any sensor, it's going to trigger the capitals. So for example, if I put North Dakota on top of Nebraska,
capital Lincoln.
So you really kind of have to be with your kids to make sure they're putting the states in the right places. Also, what's nice about this is once they're getting the hang of this and they're starting to learn everything without the audio visual, you can just turn off the volume and they can work on the puzzle without the puzzle giving them the answers to the capitals. Another nice benefit of the Melissa and Doug is these puzzle pieces are thicker and you are much less likely to lose them at the end of the day. My only real beef is, even though they group some of the states together, some of the cutouts aren't entirely geographically accurate. And being that I'm from North Carolina, I'm going to realize that you cut off the tip of the state. And for example, Idaho has a little chunk of Montana in it. And so while the state lines are accurate, the cutout is a little bit off. And since we live in South Carolina now, I don't really understand why they group South Carolina with Georgia. I mean, if they're going to group us with somebody, why not group us with North Carolina? We share 50% of the name. I mean, I don't have anything bad to say about Georgia and all. The people there are really nice, and I love beaches. But I'm just saying, the last thing I want to talk about is the State Series Quarters Collector's Map. This thing was actually a little bit more fun than I thought it would be. We've all seen the quarters with the state-sponsored logo on the back of them. This was a program that started back in 2009, and this adds a little extra component to learning about the geography of the United States. This is a neat activity because it gives the kids an opportunity to go through the loose change around the house and see how many different states they can find represented by the quarters they have. I was really surprised to see how many quarters we had in the house and how many ones we were actually able to fill up just on the first day of us doing the activity. We had every state with the exception of Alabama and Idaho, so that was pretty impressive. If you go to the usmint.gov website, you can find additional information about this program. They also have several free activities, videos, and worksheets that you can download to turn into additional activities for your kids that would be easy homeschool assignments. And it's all completely free. In the end, if I were ranking these from most useful to least useful, I would start with the magnetic versions being closer to the bottom, but that's only because the individual pieces were so small and thin that I envisioned my kids losing them in time. But they're still pretty good products, and the bonus is you can get the world and the country map together if it's something you're interested in. At the top of the list, I would do the Melissa & Doug. I like the thickness of the pieces, I like the sturdiness of how they feel. I mean, it's wood, and it's Melissa & Doug. I also like the audio component to it.
California, capital, Sacramento.
As your kids get better with knowing the states and capitals, you can turn the audio off to make it a little bit more challenging. So where does that leave the state quarter series in the lineup? That's tough. It was the one that was probably the most fun, just kind of going through, looking to the quarters and finding which ones you can find. It also has the website with free additional activities in it, but it's the most stationary. You're not going to be able to pick up the pieces, put them back. It's not a puzzle. So it all depends on what your kids kind of like. I enjoyed this one, but if you only have the budget for one, then I would go with the Melissa & Doug. If you've got a little bit extra spending money, it's worth it. But you also don't have to buy this to go to the usmint.gov website to download the information, the worksheets, and see the videos. So it's up to you. So teaching geography can be a little bit tedious and boring to learn, so some of these products make that lesson a little bit less painful. I hope you found the video informative. I will put in the description below a link to all of the products if you are interested in learning a little bit more about them. I hope you have a great day, everybody, and we'll see you next week.
Washington, capital, Olympia.
I really thought it was Seattle.